Ever since I took this photo of the Red Bull Formula One car, I have been obsessed with car photography and cinematography. Also, side note, huge F1 fan here, and looking at some of my friends' work in the automotive space really makes me want to get into it more. Problem is that I don't know which lenses are best for that type of work, and so let's find out. So for my little experiment, I wanted to use a gorgeous looking car, specifically in the EV space. And so I partnered with Audi and they let me drive their Q4 e-tron Prestige from San Francisco Airport to Yosemite. And it was literally the most comfortable road trip that I have ever been on. Like my butt was happy. That's weird. But the Q4 e-tron Prestige was great, had a 206-mile range, and I've never experienced range anxiety before, but basically if you don't know what that is, it's when you're constantly thinking about when to recharge your EV. Yeah, that was weird, that was stressful, but also kind of exhilarating. But I got to drive an EV for the very first time from San Francisco to Yosemite with some of my creator friends. And the goal for me creatively was not just to capture pretty photos of the car, but I wanted to document the journey, you know, really put the car in its element to showcase what the car can do on a road trip like that.
Wow, Audi Q4 e-tron, baby, let's go.
Look at this. Oh, so pumped.
Bags packed, ready to go. Photo Joseph, ready to go. Let's go.
The road trip itself was totally fun. I mean, you got 4 friends hanging out, driving from San Francisco to Yosemite, just having the time of our lives. And thankfully, there were charging stations along the journey, as well as charging stations at Yosemite, thank goodness. But for any road trip with any EV, just make sure to plan which charging stations that you want to stop at, because range anxiety is real.
All right, charging the Audi Q4 for the first time. Found a charging station, very cool. Plugged in. We're gonna hang out over here at Target. Maybe do some shopping, you know? That's what us boys do. Okay, so we just learned that there are different charging stations that determines how fast your car will charge. We use that little rinky-dink one over there. Didn't work, so it was gonna take like 7 hours to charge. Here, it's gonna take about 40 minutes for a full charge. I don't know if we'll wait that long, but it's definitely charging faster.
And while we were driving from San Francisco to Yosemite, I asked my friends to take some photos and videos of the interior of the car. Again, the goal here was not just to take pretty photos of the interiors, but to document what driving in a car like the Q4 e-tron would be like. Now, if I was a passenger instead of the driver, I probably would have gone with a 24-70 standard zoom lens. I mean, that covers all the classic focal lengths. You can get wide shots at 24mm and tight shots at 70mm. Well, Chris actually shot with a 50mm lens, and the shots that he took looked gorgeous. Now, I'll be honest, I never would have thought to use a 50mm prime lens for car interiors because you kind of want to capture the whole thing. Well, that's kind of wrong. I remember a car photographer friend of mine said that using a 50mm prime lens is the right choice for car interiors because anything wider than that could make the car look warped and inaccurate. And that totally makes sense because what the human eye sees is roughly equivalent to 50mm. And so to make any interior car look accurate or any product look accurate, using a lens that kind of resembles what the human eye sees kind of makes sense. Also, the combo with the Sony a7R5 and the Sony 50mm G Master lens is gonna make any photo look gorgeous. Now, what about the exterior of the car? Which lens is best for that? Well, in order to showcase the Audi Q4 e-tron Prestige as best as possible, I wanted to use a gorgeous backdrop. And what better place to do that than Yosemite. First off, shout out to the good people at NPS for giving us permission to film in Yosemite. If you are a YouTuber and you want to film content for YouTube, you have to apply for a permit. It doesn't matter if it's a big budget or zero budget. If you want to film content in Yosemite, you got to get a permit. So shout out to NPS for giving us that permission. And stand by for a video that Chris and I are working on what it's like to apply for a film permit in Yosemite. And so if you're a creator wanting to film in Yosemite or any national park, then stay tuned for that video. Anyway, for the exterior shots of the car, I just wanted some nice mountains in the background with the Audi Q4 e-tron Prestige in the foreground. And just like the interior shots, I thought using a 50mm prime lens would be the best option. And so I used the Sony 50mm f1.4 G master lens along with the Sony a7R5 and took these gorgeous shots, which I absolutely love. I mean, look at these shots. But then Chris used a telephoto zoom lens, specifically the Tamron 50 to 400mm, and shot this. And oh my wow, it turned out so good. Now, a telephoto zoom lens is something like this. This is a Sony 70 to 200 G Master Lens Mark II. But for this particular shot, Chris shot at 93mm, which is enough to compress the backgrounds, like the mountains were brought closer to the foreground, making it look so majestic in the background, and at the same time made the car look incredibly epic. It's just really cool how different lenses can produce different results. And that's the thing, you know, if you're shooting something, whether it's car photography or whatever, try out different lenses, see what it does, see how you feel about it as the artist. But yeah, we were playing around with the 50, we were playing around with the telephoto zoom lens, and just the shots that we all came up with together was just so nice. Oh, and pro tip, if you are shooting exteriors of the car, turn on the headlights, turn on the brights. Just adding those lights will make any car look epic. Like here's a shot of the car without the headlights on, and here's a shot with the headlights on. Major difference. And so yeah, if you're shooting exteriors of the car, turn on the headlights. But yeah, that was my little experiment. Obviously, I'm very new to car photography and cinematography, and so if you are more experienced than I am, then please let me know any advice that you have. Like, I am just hungry to learn, and I'm really excited to get more into car photography and cinematography. Huge thanks to Audi for letting me drive their gorgeous Q4 e-tron Prestige. Huge thanks to my friends Chris, Steven, and Joseph for traveling with me and helping me film this project, and huge thanks to you for watching. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. But other than that, have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.